Hello, everybody. This is Bernadette Smith. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm CEO of Equality Institute. And today I'm joined by Seema. Seema, will you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely, Bernadette. I'm Seema Jain, founder of Seva Global. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm calling from Chicago today. I apologize for any glitchiness. We're having a little bit of technical issues, but hopefully my voice will give you enough tips throughout the next 15 minutes.
And I'm at the airport, so between the two of us, neither of us, there's a chance we might have technical issues, but you know what? We're going to have a great conversation anyway. So
Great.
this is 5 things in 15 minutes. It is a weekly live stream I have on LinkedIn Live where I bring good vibes and DEI. And every week I'm joined by a wonderful co-host who talks to me about some of the great things that are happening. Because what I have found in so much of the work that I do is that there's a lot of focus on what's going wrong, negative data, negative stories. And honestly, I like to think about the positive stuff, and there's a lot of stories about what's going right. So that's what I find. I find those positive stories, and every Saturday I send out a newsletter called 5 Things, bringing good vibes and DEI. And you can, if you don't already subscribe, you can subscribe at theequalityinstitute.com/join. And then on Mondays on LinkedIn, I'm joined by a special guest who talks to me about these awesome 5 things. So today is a little bit unique. I guess it was a week or two ago, Seema, you texted me an Instagram image, an Instagram ad that was for a brand advertising on Target. And it was a brand advertising their Diwali products. So I thought this was a really great opportunity to talk about Diwali today on 5 Things. Can you talk to us about this special holiday and why we should be paying more attention than we have than at least I'll admit why I should be paying more attention than I have in the past?
Sure. Well, thank you, Bernadette, for including me in this week. It is a phenomenal week for Indians around the world as we start celebrations tomorrow, November 2nd, and they go 5 days till November 6th. Diwali is the festival of lights. Think of it as your Christmas, if that's something you celebrate. It is our Indian New Year. And it is a great holiday similar to Christmas. We have a lot of food, family parties, et cetera, et cetera. And we are trying to make sure that we are mindful to those who celebrate, not to put too many meetings on during this week, to keep it low key so they can enjoy time with their family. When you're in India celebrating, it's a whole week off, similar to how the children here might get winter break off. During that time, people will get time off at this time in India. So again, if you're having any meeting with somebody in India, be mindful to that as this is their special time of the year. So Diwali is a great holiday. It is a little bit of July 4th in there as well, Bernadette. I don't know if you knew that, but we do sparklers in India, fireworks. Because we're in America, it's not quite legal, so you really can't do that. But technically, it's a combination of Christmas and July 4th together. So a great holiday celebrated by most of India. North Indians might celebrate it different than South Indians. Jains might celebrate it different than Sikhs or Hindus. But there's reason we all celebrate and we all wish each other happy Diwali.
Wonderful. So there were some products that have been maybe not introduced this year, but more recently come out that showcase Diwali. Would you mind talking about some of those as well? I know you talked to me about the stamps and a
Yeah.
few others.
So a lot of times when you send your greeting cards out during the holidays, a lot of Indians also send Diwali cards out. So when I went to the United States Postal Service a couple years ago, I noticed they made stamps, and the stamps, I believe, had a diya. So a diya is a light, and because it's the festival of lights, this is what a diya looks like. I'm not sure if you can quite see it, but it is basically just a little candle holder, and you put a tea light inside it. So it's a candle holder with a tea light that you can put inside. And we light our entire home with these little candles, similar to maybe how Hanukkah has lights or Christmas has lights or Kwanzaa. Different holidays have different lights. USPS has done stamps. I've seen Hallmark do Diwali greeting cards. You can easily get an e-card nowadays that says Happy Diwali and send that to a colleague or a friend or a customer who might be celebrating this occasion. We're seeing Party City has now kits on how to celebrate Diwali, and you can get your napkins and plates and everything all in one kit. So companies are doing a really good job in recognizing, and I hope they do it for all the holidays that are celebrated by all of our, different backgrounds that we have in this country.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I mean, it's a holiday celebrated by literally billions of people around the world, right?
That is
And
correct.
it's a holiday that we're really only starting to see more and more acknowledgement of here in the States, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I've seen. And, of course, Hallmark, et cetera, are going to be making money off these cards, and there's a new market, untapped market. I understand the business objective, but it's also great for inclusion. It helps people feel seen. It's not just about the money. It's also about allowing folks to be authentic and celebrate in a way that is meaningful to them. So, of course, there's a financial piece to it, but I like that it's a lot more than that.
Agree. It is an authentic thing to do when people in the company feel good that they're being recognized for their holiday, whether it be they add an Indian item to the buffet that week to celebrate, whether they have an event that is designed and created by the employees, would be also great to include them in how do you celebrate your holiday and let them feel that limelight for that day.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that with me. I'm really excited to happy Diwali.
Well, thank
I hope
you.
that you have
And most of
I
us
hope that you have
during
a
the
wonderful
holiday,
week.
well, we tend to wear bright colors a lot of times. So red is a very auspicious color in the Indian culture. So every day this week, we'll be dressing up and having our festivities.
Wonderful. All right. So what else is going on? Let's talk about some of the other good vibes I found. This week or last week, I learned that the first U.S. passport with gender X designation instead of just male or female was issued. And so the U.S. became the 12th country in the world to issue passports with a third gender designation. They're not available yet to anyone who identifies as transgender or non-binary. They're going to be more widely available next year. But it's a pretty big deal that the first one is out, setting a precedent, and certainly setting a precedent of inclusion and by the federal government to recognize that there are more than two genders. Pretty exciting stuff, right, Seema?
100% agree, Bernadette. When you sent that article and I read it, I said, wow, I was so pleasantly surprised that the government stepped in to do something. I could see a private company, I can see different things, but when you're a government, you feel so proud that they did something that made that inclusiveness there. It was a nice story to read about. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course. All right. So next up, Sarah Blakely, who's CEO of Spanx, she did something pretty awesome last week. So first of all, Spanx is a shapewear company that recently sold. It's for billions of dollars. And Sarah has turned the company or run the company as a mostly women-run business for decades now and has done very well. And so now that the company was sold and she's probably a billionaire, she gave all of her employees 2 first-class tickets anywhere in the world, plus $10,000 to spend. And the video of her making the announcement and sharing this with the employees was amazing and beautiful. But what I really loved was that she said part of her commitment is to continue to fulfill her greatest passion, elevating women. And I think Sarah's done a really beautiful job of women's empowerment. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this story.
Oh my gosh, it was a great story. I brought tears to my eyes. And thank you, Sarah, for creating Spanx. I think every woman probably owns 1 or 2 pairs at least of something, but probably the best invention I'd say in my lifetime that I've seen. The way her employees reacted when she announced that was so heartfelt. And you could tell that she did this truly because she cared. It wasn't for any PR. It wasn't for anything. She cared. And it was great to see where people wanted to go, what their dream vacation was. Plus, they got the $10,000 extra cash to spend, which was great. So really good feel story, Bernadette. And thank you for bringing that to our attention because it's like you said, we want to show the positives and the good stories that are out there. And I think she hit a home run with that one. So Bernadette, question for you. Where would you go if you got those 2 first-class Delta tickets?
Oh, great question. I think probably go. I'm hoping to do a really long tour of Spain and Portugal, so the Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah.
That's where I would go. Lots of tapas.
Good for you. Good for you.
How about you?
I think South Africa is on my list still, so I would like to try to go there if possible.
Sounds great. And I think that was actually where one of her employees is headed as well.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so next up, Nordstrom. Nordstrom has done a fantastic job of diversifying their shelf space, and they continue to make more and more authentic commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So they have some new partnerships, that a partnership with Latinx owned companies, a new partnership with a marketplace called Black Owned Everything, and they're even offering more size inclusive products. For a high end retailer, this is pretty rare, and I really appreciate what they're doing here. And they're taking equity and inclusion very, very seriously. So, what do you think about this?
I loved it to see, like you said, a high-end retailer going beyond what you normally think would be DEI efforts. It's not about the people all the time on the team. It's about even the products, the shelf space. And I like how they brought it all full circle, Bernadette. I think it's great. I've always enjoyed shopping at Nordstrom when I can afford it, but I do enjoy it. The experience is great. They're terrific in their service. And to take it to a new level, you and I have talked before about people like to shop at places where people do good things. And makes me want to go more to Nordstrom, knowing that they are doing these phenomenal initiatives in their DEI space.
Yeah, exactly. And these types of initiatives are the types of changes that can actually reduce the racial wealth gap. They give underrepresented founders access to shelf space, which can, increase their own equity and increase their own capacity to earn and give back to their own communities, create more jobs. So it's just win-win-wins all across the board. And not only that, but obviously the products themselves, because they are created by diverse founders, are going to be more representative of a diverse group of consumers. And I think that's wonderful as well. So I always love situations or stories where there's like three wins. It's great.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. No, and I think it's also really good when you think about diversity. Like you said, it's on many planes, many levels. It's not just about the people, it's about the product, it's about everything, right? And when you have that, like you said, you're grabbing new diverse clientele coming into your stores. Right. So you're capturing new audiences, you're capturing new target markets because you do that. I know as an Indian community, and when we see something great, everybody starts talking about it and everybody starts shopping there. You don't need a lot all the time in the marketing efforts. It should be organically done. And that's how most people like to shop.
Yeah, I agree. And it's very authentic when it's done this way, right? And that's so it just feels much more connective. All
Absolutely.
right. So last story this week comes from Walmart. So a few times now I've written, and I definitely wrote about it in my book, about how Walmart has provided free college tuition and
Mhm.
books to its employees. They expanded that partnership recently to now include free tuition at three historically Black colleges and universities, including Morehouse and Spelman in Atlanta. So really big colleges. This affects one employees. And many of those employees, especially at the retail level, are people of color. And they now have free access to free college tuition and books at
Mhm.
these historically Black colleges and universities. To me, that's really powerful, and it goes beyond just expanding access. I mean, it does expand access, but in kind of a unique way. And I haven't seen other retailers do this.
Bernadette, these education stories just make my day. Growing up in a first generation Indian immigrant home, it was all about education. And education is the one thing nobody can take away from you once you earn that degree. It is with you for life. It's your ticket to many opportunities. So the fact that companies like Walmart are helping communities that may not have had the same privileges as other communities, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. And that's where I love to see the dollars go, is in education, because it is the one thing I know. If my father didn't teach me anything, he always said, keep your one degree. If you can get a second, that's great, but at least have one degree in your back pocket to help you open up some opportunities. So I think it's fantastic. I know for a while, tuition reimbursement had been cut by many companies and people were cutting back. And it's nice to see that people who have Whichever community you're from, if you have the opportunity and some company like that, like Walmart is doing great work and giving you that opportunity to get the education. I mean, definitely for me, that's a company I'd like to, see more of and do business with because of these great things that they're doing.
And it's just making it easier for their employees. I mean, free tuition is no joke. I mean, this is perhaps over a 6-year value, the cost of tuition now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Seema, everyone out there. And thank you for joining 5 Things in 15 Minutes, bringing good vibes to DEI. And if you don't already subscribe, thank you, Seema. And have
Thank
a
you,
wonderful
Bernadette.
celebrating with your family. And
Thank you.
bother you. You're no text or calls the rest of the week. You're off.
That's
You're
okay.
off. Enjoy it.
I'm there to
Take care,
serve you
everyone.
guys, and always to educate is my thing. So terrific. Thanks, Bernadette, for having me.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.